What you're looking at now is the European Parliament's draft report on the proposal for a directive of the European Parliament and of the Council on the protection of animals used for scientific purposes. It's dated 18th the 2nd, 2009. What you are looking at now is page 5 of the draft report. If you look down the bottom, it says Amendment 1, text proposed by the Commission. Now this is what the Commission have given to the Parliament to amend and comment on. To the right of the text you will see amendment. This is what the European Parliament have amended, i.e. what they didn't totally agree with from the text given to them by the Commission. I just wanted to show you that just so you can see how the draft report is laid out. So you can see here, at least the Commission had some humanity in saying that the experiments shouldn't be prolonged if they're in the severe class. However, the lovely European Parliament have overruled that. Well, they've amended that, so they hope that it will be overruled, and they said that it can be justified if, that is, prolonged pain, prolonged severe pain, can be justified if it is ethically monitored. I'll let you decide what you think of that. If my understanding of EU law is correct, the European Commission are now largely out of the picture. They've proposed the legislation and that seems to be the end of their role. The declaration by 433 MEPs in 2008 wishing for a total primate ban must have been some pre-law expression the European Parliament is allowed to make. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, as previously mentioned, the Commission ignored it anyway and drew up their own draft proposal with the primate ban taken out. What seems to happen after the directive is proposed by the Commission is they send it to the European Parliament and they suggest amendments. This resulted in the draft report already commented on the 18th of the 2nd, 2009. After the European Parliament's amendments are made, in this case by the Agricultural Committee, the draft report's first reading is voted on by the European Parliament. Now this was done in May 2009. Unfortunately, there were 540 votes for the directive, there were 66 against, which was good, and there were 34 abstentions. It should be noted that there are 785 MEPs altogether in the European Parliament. 433 of them voted for a complete primate ban in 2008. And as already said, by May 2009, only 66 were against the directive. This proves how successful the pro-vivisection lobby must have been in changing the minds of MEPs. I mean, to go from 433 who wanted a total ban on any primate experiments to 66 against the directive is a massive change. Without being too boring and technical, I'm going to carry on having a look at how European law comes into effect. Most ordinary legislation is adopted by the European Union after a process called co-decision. This largely involves the proposed legislation being passed back and forth between the European Parliament and the Council. The co-decision is between the European Parliament and the Council of Ministers. Those ministers come from member states. The European Parliament has joint making powers with the Council of Ministers, and there can be up to 3 readings of the proposed legislation in the European Parliament. So far, there has been 1 reading. It's important to remember, if the European Parliament rejects a proposal, the Council of Ministers cannot adopt it. In this sense, the European Parliament does have real power. So where is the draft directive, legislation, whatever you call it, now? Well, having passed through the European Parliament, it is now being reshaped by the Council of Ministers. The Minister at the Home Office involved in this draft legislation, this draft directive, is called Meg Hillier. I think I've pronounced that correctly. Like I say, she's at the Home Office. She is going to be reshaping the directive if she thinks it needs reshaping. Perhaps it would be a good idea to write to her. I'll enclose her address, after I stop speaking. I think it'd be nice to ask her if she could take out of the legislation a vivisector's legal right to carry out experiments that cause severe and prolonged pain to any animal. I mean, I think that is the least that needs to be done.